Good morning, Soapbox Nation. Hey, believe it or not, it's Wednesday again. It's Hump Day. Thank you for joining me for Hump Day. Yes, it's another Wednesday, folks, and you're tuning in to Soapbox Daily. Hey, I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and thanks for joining me for episode 83 today. Wow, where's the time going? It's already November 9th, believe it or not. November 9th already. And this winter, at least where I'm located in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is creeping in slowly but surely, crazy enough. But today, on today's show, we're going to be discussing, and this is kind of, these topics kind of are inspired by, of course, recent events that happen or just, yesterday's evenings or something like that. Just something that pops in my mind. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to talk about this on tomorrow's show or sometime this week. So today, the topic is, and the title is, when does gaming stop being fun and become a chore? That's pretty much the question. Now, this can relate to pretty much any type of games, but more so, we're talking about video games, whether it's console games, PC games, whatever, but it's in the video game variety of sorts, which is a ruling factor in today's world. Not for everybody, not every generation's the same, but for those that do, this is what we're discussing. When does gaming stop being fun and become a chore? Because it's a really good question. And me, who's been gaming since the 70s, since I was a kid, that's a very valid point because it has been nonstop for me. So before we get into that, hey, how's your integrity been this week? How's your integrity today? Are you having a good integrity day? Are you being the positive example that the world needs? Are you being the change that the world needs? Only you can answer that question. And if it needs improvement, hey, onwards and upwards, keep working on it. Also, please check out getoffmysoapbox.com for more information on all our shows. You check that out. We have all the details on there. And we're also on Twitter and all the major platforms. So check those out. You will find us around. All the links are on, of course, the main website. So gaming, video games, namely. I started mine off with 2600, Atari 2600 back in the day. It was what I did. I played all the games, starting the combat all the way upwards. And gaming's been an interesting thing. It's especially since I have a competitive side. There's always been that sense of competition. But gaming can be frustrating because not everybody has a skill for it. But the good thing is that everybody can get better with it. Now, I know I've touched on this topic briefly in a previous episode. I'm not sure if it was our long format show of Get Off My Soapbox, which is coincidentally this evening. This is Wednesday evening show. That is this evening, so check that out. I'm not sure if I touched it on that show or whether or not I briefly touched on it in Soapbox Daily, but either way, little further elaboration on this. And this was kind of inspired last night, but it got me thinking about a lot of things. I was in a raid, posted some numbers because, I was just curious of why nobody came to assist me. And I ended up dying. My character ended up dying. And posted some numbers, which subjected some to debate. I was like, why would you let one of your top damage dealers die? And they're like, what are you talking about? You're like maybe number 10. And this is the comments that were, childishly coming through chat. And I sat there and I posted the numbers and they're like, oh, well, that's not the overall. That's just the current fight. I'm like, okay, well, we wiped on all the other fights. So why would those be valid statistics? They wouldn't be. It's the active fight, the one that we're actually succeeding on. Those should be the numbers that count. But of course, everybody, stupidly enough, and it ends up, excuse my language, is a pissing contest. It's like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And in the game, which generally you're competing against the environment, the actual game mechanics and the game strategies and challenges itself, for people to keep on going on about how great they are in comparison to their fellow gamer, it's pretty pathetic. But it got me thinking about this. Now, here's the thing. For me personally, I've been playing, as I said, since the 70s. But here's the reality of it. As people grow older, there are inevitable changes that influence how we see games, including things as simple as needing glasses to actually play games. The gradual loss of focusing ability for near vision as we age makes gaming on smartphones and consoles a nightmare for us older people. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm going to be 50 next month. And because of the changes as we get older, we start looking at games differently. We're not just looking at it as, okay, I'm going to get on, I'm going to be the best, and look at my numbers and look how great I am. And we no longer find those virtual rewards that come within video games to be as rewarding. Because in the real world, we're no longer those teenagers or those kids that had no responsibilities back then because our parents took care of all of the responsibilities, the bills and everything else. As we get older, our things when it comes to gaming changes. Our viewpoint becomes changed. At least it should. We should grow up. We should mature. We should matter about what happens in real life and put away the games. I mean, we don't necessarily have to put away the games completely, but we have to start prioritizing what matters in real life. Me putting hard work into the real world through a job or everything I do in the real world, everyday living, produces a reward, produces a car, a nice house, vacations, etc. Those numbers are excellent, and that could be shown by the way my life is. But if I take it over to the virtual world, I mean, other than dealing with the toxicity of immature gamers and idiots hiding behind a keyboard, very, very brave, shooting their mouths off because they make themselves feel important, there's nothing to that. You're not getting anything out of it other than stats, other than numbers, other than bragging rights. But that doesn't translate into anything else unless you're of the small 1% that actually gets sponsors, actually gets a paycheck for it. In that case, I can understand that. But generally, people that are at that level of being that good to get paid, they know that they have to have a professional demeanor. They can't shoot their mouths off. So they can't be jerks when it comes to beyond online because they represent a brand. They represent a name. So all these loudmouths that are shooting off in chat, I look at them and go, one, you're not getting paid for it. And two, if your numbers keep you warm, that's great at night. But and three, you obviously have no real world responsibilities. Because as I said, as you get older, the more responsibilities, problems, and stresses in life, the more we lose our appetite for things that we used to entertain us, including gaming. Could there be something more than that? Games themselves are also changing. As technology enabled things that I would never even dream of as a kid, it created entirely new platforms for gaming. So what we're used to when we're younger, when we grow up, those dynamics change. The young get it, the older don't. Because as we get older, as I said, we have the disadvantages of certain things, such as hand-eye coordination and the quick abilities to adapt to things, etc., etc., etc. And hey, as I mentioned before, don't get me wrong, I've been at the top of my game. The game I've been playing since 2004 consistently has been WoW, World of Warcraft. Some people laugh about it, some people don't. I've been at the top of my game on that. I've been world first. I've been at the top echelon of things. But I'm not going to spend 22 years doing that consistently. 22 or 18 years? Anyways, 2004 to, well, now 2022. I can't do that. I had to step back and I had to get a life and I had to take care of a family and I had to have a career. I had to do all that stuff like that. So now gaming is just a distraction when I have time. It's fun. At least I try to make it fun. When it stops being fun, I turn it off. I don't have time for the kids, like the idiots online, the immature little punks that they live in that virtual world and that is their whole existence. Real world, I'm successful. I have a family, I have a career, I have a house, blah, 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 blah. I can go on. So find that balance, folks, because a small 1% is getting paid for it. When it stops being fun, time to turn off the computer or turn off the gaming console, step away and start focusing on tangible things, not virtual things. Tangible things in the real world. If you can get that, that's what matters. Okay, when does gaming stop being fun? When it starts becoming a chore is when it stops being fun. Time to turn it off. And then it starts getting irritating. It starts getting agonizing. And it starts being more stress and more, I don't know, not fun. It's time to walk away. That's all I'm saying on that one. You know, I mean, I tried to revamp and respark by getting into Classic, and that just, WoW Classic just seems to be a waste of time. I've already done it once, and the Classic is more retro. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, you know, you have to play with what you think is fun, and if one game doesn't become fun anymore, move it on. Change it up. Try something new. Change hobbies. All right. I'm going to wrap this up for today. Hey, thanks for joining me. Today's episode for Wednesday. But remember, this evening, get off my soapbox, check it out. We'll be having that show later on today. I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Hope you have an amazing Wednesday moving forward, amazing day moving forward. Keep your integrity in check. Check out getoffmysoapbox.com, and I will see you next episode.